All right, so for today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the Knipex 0208 225 high leverage combination pliers. Now, I previously did review some of the 8-inch versions of these combination pliers here on the channel, but I've had these sitting around for a little bit for a while, and I did want to make a comparison video to see how they compare to the Knipex 9-inch lineman's pliers. But before I did that, I figured I might as well make a video on these guys. Now, as you see here in this video, these have the VDE handles, or the insulated handles. I do believe the 9-inch pair does come with the standard comfort grip handles. I'm not sure if it comes with the dipped handles. I'm not really into the dipped handles. I think some of the only pliers that I have in use on a regular basis with the dipped handles are a couple pairs of lineman pliers, or a lineman plier, diagonal cutter, or cable cutter, and some Cobras. That's about it. But I did pick these up with the VDE handles, so I'm not sure if they have it with the dipped, but I'm almost positive that I've seen them with the comfort grip handles, if that is your taste. Now, we'll start off with the handles here like we do on most of Knipex's pliers. We have the model number right there. Now, the 225 is the millimeters. That is the length of the plier, which comes out to roughly 9 inches in length. And then, like most of Knipex's tools, these guys are produced in Germany. And then coming down to the bottom of the tool, you have all the certifications and tests that the tool went through to prove that it can be rated up to 1,000 volts. Now, fun fact is, I believe that they do test these guys up to 10,000 volts to see if they will fail, but they do rate them for 1,000 volts. And then coming over to here, you have the model, or the year that the tool was produced, and this one was produced last year in 2024. And that's pretty much it for the handles. You do have some warnings there on the inside, and then some more ratings, and then, of course, made in Germany stamp there on the handles. And then you come up to the business end of the tool. You have the Knipex name, and you have somewhat of a larger rivet. I don't think the rivet on the lineman pliers is this big, but I could be wrong. I'd have to go back and compare, which I plan on doing in the future. And then you have your cutting knives, and then you have your gripping point if you need to hold on to a bolt or something. And tighten it and or loosen it. And then we'll take a look at the teeth there. Now, unlike a pair of lineman pliers, combination pliers do have all the teeth going in the same direction. They are all parallel to each other. So you're not going to be able to get as tight of a grip on some of the material, whereas if you had a cross hatching, you get a little bit tighter of a grip if you needed to use that for some pulling force. At the back side of the pliers is relatively the same. Kind of surprised these don't have a barcode on them. Majority of the VDE tools and some of the comfort grip tools that I've looked at here on the channel always seem to have a barcode, but I've noticed that with some of the newer Knipex tools that I've been buying is the barcode has been disappearing on the back. And then you come out to the back side of the plier. You got your opening for your knives, and then you get your teeth in the front of your plier. But that's pretty much it for the detail on these. So we'll go ahead and zoom out and get to the functionality and the cutting. So like I said, you can use these guys for holding onto like a bolt or a nut. So if you were tightening a nut onto this bolt and you wanted to hold it from spinning, you hit it up against a piece of metal or something, you can do that. Now, typically, that's not something I've ever really done with a pair of combination pliers. And again, combination pliers here in the States aren't very popular. I think I've only ever seen maybe a couple of electricians use them, but mainly we prefer lineman pliers. These are more popular over in Europe. So that is the feature that you can hold a bolt with that, or if you wanted to hold on to a nut, you could easily get a grip of that and tighten, your bolt or whatever into that, or maybe you're trying to twist it onto some threaded rod, you can do that as well. So that is the kind of the bolt feature. Now we'll get to some cutting here. So I just got some 14 gauge Romex wire here. We'll go ahead and test these guys out. And you do have that ominous snapping sound when you're cutting through those conductors. I didn't quite have it all the way in there. It does a fairly decent job cutting up that 14 gauge. And then we have some 12 gauge to test out too. And definitely have to use a lot more force when cutting through those 3 12 gauge conductors. But these guys don't seem to have an issue cutting through that 12 gauge Romex wire. Now, one thing that I do like to use the majority of my pliers for, especially my lineman pliers, when I'm working with that thicker gauge wire, mainly 6, 8, and 10, I don't like to use a pair of wire strippers. I just like to use the lineman pliers or in this case, a combination plier to strip some wire. Now this is just 12 gauge wire. I don't really have any 10 gauge wire on hand currently, but we'll go ahead and run through this and see if we can give this guy a strip. So I normally twist it around a couple times and then pull that insulation off, and they cut through the stranded wire fairly easy. You don't really have any effort to do. Kind of hard to strip these guys on camera, but they do don't have any problem cutting and pulling off that insulation. And I'll go ahead and do that one more time and see if I can't use those teeth up front to pull off the insulation. And you do get a decent bite there on those pliers to pull off that insulation if you needed to. You know, you're doing a termination or whatever and you wanted to use these guys to do it, you do get a decent grip. Like I said, I'm gonna have to see how these compare to the 9-inch lineman pliers that I have that are also Knipex. So that is the 9-inch pair, and if you're wondering, here I do have the 8-inch pair. So they do make a couple different sizes of the high leverage. Like I said, they make the 8 and the 9. We did previously look at these 8 here on the channel, but I picked these guys up, these 9-inch ones, last year in 2024, and just somehow forgot to make a video on them. And then I was going to look for something, another tool, and it ran across them, so I decided to go ahead and make a video on these. But overall, they are definitely a nice pair of pliers, so if you're looking to add them to your lineup, I could easily recommend them. Generally, with most Knipex pliers, they are relatively, you know, a high-quality plier. I haven't really had any problems with them, and they're overall just, you know, a decent plier, and they're fairly popular. So with that being said, that's kind of all I have for this video. So as always, there will be some links down in the description below. One of them will take you on over to the Knipex website if you want to find out more information about these pliers, and or if you want to find out what other kind of handles that they have, grips that they have for these guys. Maybe if you're not needing the insulated ones and you just want either comfort grip or dipped handles, you can head on over there and find out more information. And then there will also be some links if you are looking to purchase this specific pair of pliers for yourself down in the description. But with that being said, that's all I have for this video. Thanks for watching.